What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top-rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media, and you are listening to NBT Bank's On the Scene podcast, reaching over 250,000. That's 250,000 listeners and readers of weha.com, Jewish Ledger, and West Hartford Magazine. And before we introduce our guest today, I'd like to introduce our co-host, Bob Carr. Good morning, Bob.
Thank you, Tom. Tom Hickey, along with myself, Koshik Maccabi, and Ronnie Newton, is the founder and partner in weha.com. Tom brings to West Hartford the Connecticut Jewish Ledger, West Hartford Magazine, which is West Hartford's original lifestyle magazine, along with the Taste of West Hartford. Our next one is coming up this April 27th, and the Best of West Hartford, which will be this fall. Post-production and distribution of our podcast is managed by Exvadio Media, a division of the Modern Observer Group of Middletown, Connecticut. And today our guests are Paul Parks III and Kendra Walker from Frisbies Dairy Barn. Welcome, Kendra and Paul. So normally we always have all kinds of cool guests on here. This is probably our first ice cream. I think it's our first ice cream, which is great. So Paul, how did you get into the ice cream business, and what's your background in that? And tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Sure. Yeah. So Frisbee's Dairy Barn was started in New Britain in 2015 as a way to get zoning passed to bring a gas station to that location. The mayor said, we could do a gas station, but we really want ice cream. Gaida's was previously there. And so the ice cream shop was developed by Michael Frisbie of Noble Gas. And he ran it until basically his business partner said, hey, we got to focus. You're spending too much time on ice cream. And that's when I got involved. So through first a college internship and ultimately purchased it with my dad, and then brought in my twin sister, Victoria, and business partner, Kendra. Kendra and I have been friends since high school. And I started there in 2019. We've owned it since 2020, and then expanded to some additional locations.
Okay. And I was thinking I've got to throw this in there because you're right. This is the first time that we've actually talked about ice cream, and my shortfall. I am an ice cream freak. So I can't believe that that we haven't talked about ice cream, in the last year and a half. So I'm thrilled to be having this conversation.
I know this ice cream.
Anyone who knows me knows I'm a junkie, so
it's pretty much here as well. I mean, I have spent plenty of dollars back in the day at Friendly's and other places, and always looking for soft serve and any great homemade hard ice cream. So what's your process? What do you guys serve? What's your process, and what's your background?
Yeah, glad to be the first ice cream shop. Certainly we're biased, but we love what we do. So we make an all hard ice cream. So we use a process called small batch, where very labor intensive and very hands-on. It's kind of the classic handmade or homemade ice cream. We make it to meet what's considered a super premium standard. And so, we make it 2 or 3 or 4 buckets at a time. Those buckets that you would see scooped in a shop, and then we're hand adding the inclusions, we're mixing and swirling. And so it's a real process of creating a high quality product. We use a very high standard dairy and then a very low overrun, which is the air that gets whipped into the ice cream. And so when you combine those two, then you get the levels of, premium and up to super premium. So we aim for a super premium product, which you can definitely taste the difference.
And where are you doing all this? On location, right? Really?
So up until last year, we were doing it 100% in New Britain. We were including our stores and some local retailers that scoop our ice cream primarily. We were doing 7 locations out of that one spot. very small kitchen. This year we shifted to making ice cream on site at 3 of our locations. And so we have the batch freezer, and we physically make the ice cream instead of me getting on the delivery truck and moving it around. We do it on site, which we think is really cool to be able to say, we make our ice cream in Windsor and New Britain. And so there's a marketing benefit, but it also helps keep that freshness. And we were just out of space in the kitchen, frankly. So it's been fun.
Yeah, excellent.
What kind of additives, what kind of add-ins do you guys put in? Not additives, excuse me, bad term. Add-ins that you put into your ice cream that you scoop, that you bring into the product.
Yeah. Flip through, like the average shop will have like 24 to 30. Cookies is really popular for us, like anything Oreo, chocolate chip, and then we do a lot of the fruits. So our black raspberry and our red raspberry and our raspberry cheesecake, strawberry. Our strawberry is really, really good. So we kind of have the classics, and then we like to add in like cookie butter is really having a moment right now. So that's a recent flavor that we created. So we try to have something for everybody, especially a couple of non-dairies as well. So we have a nice coconut-based non-dairy mix that we use so that not only can they get, like a sorbet, but they can also get something that scoops and tastes like a premium ice cream as well.
So when people go in, what they're seeing could change every week or every day or whatever based on what you make.
It certainly can. Yeah, we keep a pretty standard kind of like our always flavors, and then we rotate in. Like we just finished up with red velvet, which is our February and one of our most popular seasonal flavors. And so then for March, we'll talk about a carrot cake and a mint Oreo. And so, we match it with the seasons, which the flexibility of having those small batches, you can make 2 or 3 buckets and have a really fun flavor and try it out. So it's mostly consistent with rotating specials.
All right, now that we're halfway into this and we have everyone drooling and salivating as they're listening and wanting ice cream, where are you guys? Where are they going to be able to go find you? We are specifically talking about the greater West Hartford area, so feel free to talk about your newest location and the others as well.
Awesome. We are super excited to be opening soon in Blueback Square in West Hartford. So we're going to be right across from the Cheesecake Factory at that 38 Isham Road. And our signs just went up recently, and we have our last few inspections this week. So fingers crossed, we're a week or 2 out from being able to scoop some ice cream. But in the greater Hartford area, we're also in New Britain and Windsor.
Great. All right. And if people want learn more about you, a website or a phone number, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, you can find us at frisbiesdairybarn.com. You'll see all of our locations listed there, as well as our ice cream classes that we're just winding down. But those have been really, really popular. Folks get to come in, make their own flavor, create a whole bucket and gallon and take home. It's been really, really cool.
Oh, huh. So are there parties that, like birthday, I'm thinking birthday parties or something, or yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We do them like we run regular classes in the off season, say September through about now when it starts getting nice. And then we'll do birthday parties and private events all year round, at least in New Britain. And then ultimately we hope to bring it to.
Okay. Now I'm going to say this, Bob, without us talking to the group about this, but I think that we should have a great party and mutually beneficial, like make a wee hot ice cream, or something. I think that would be, come up with a very unique, fun flavor, and whatever.
That'd be blue. It's got to be, our logo's blue, so it's got to be a blue-based ice cream, right?
We would love to do it.
Fun. That'd be fun.
Where will you find West Hartford's best and most comprehensive business news? At weha.com. Subscribe to the weha.com newsletter Business Buzz for free every Monday at weha.com. Log on to we-ha.com. We have it all in West Hartford.
So Kendra, what's your role? So I know you want to be in the background here, but I can't introduce you and then never ask a question. That's, so what's your role and how did you get involved?
Yeah, of course. So I I got a phone call back in 2020, 2021, and Paul said, "Hey, we've been doing the ice cream shop. We're growing. What are you doing? And would you like to get involved?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So I've been involved since then, primarily in one of our Massachusetts locations. And then I'm helping out with the operations and some of the brand and marketing right now. So it's just a fantastic time to be in our business, just with all this growth and excitement around our ice cream and those new ice cream experiences we've been offering. And then one note on where to find us, I just wanted to add this. Because we drop classes and new flavors all the time, definitely follow us on Instagram at Frisbee's Dairy Barn. We post things on our story, on our timeline. So that's the best way to kind of know what's going on behind the scenes.
Excellent. Great. And Paul, I was thinking when you were saying opposite Cheesecake Factory, which is a great location for or reference for Blueback Square, but I always, I think of you guys as being right in center court. So when you're sitting there and watching, opposite Barnes and Noble, watching, a concert or a dancing or whatever it is, you're right there. So hopefully, that you somebody there will make people go in and get an ice cream. So
We had a cake bakery on a while back, and I asked the same question: how do you stay thin?
that's right.
Yeah, it's a good question. It does help that I'm lactose intolerant. So don't get me wrong. I still eat way too much ice cream. It's the job. I have to. Somebody's got to taste it. But people ask me, they're like, "Oh, are you sick of it by now?" No, it doesn't go away. So it's just the risk of it.
No.
Every once in a while, we'll look at each other and we'll be like, "Have you tried our Nutella? It is delicious." So never get sick of it.
It's very cool. Very cool. So go back a super premium ice cream. So I've heard that term before, and you described it a little bit. Is that it had to do with the butterfat? Is it have what's the other reasons that's it besides the air and
Yeah, so those are the two. So the first is butterfat, which to be considered ice cream, it's a 10% minimum. And that's the only real main standard of ice cream. So if you're below 10%, sometimes you'll see in the grocery store frozen dairy dessert. And so it just means they can't be ice cream labeled because they're below that 10%. It's preference too, it's still delicious, but technically higher. So a 12% is considered a premium, 14% and above is typically considered super premium. And then that second factor is the overrun. So if you whip a lot of air into it, you might get double, triple the product, so you make more money, but you have less ice cream. So the pints are going to be lighter, you get an airier product. Again, preference to some degree, but in terms of ice cream standards, when you have less air and higher butterfat, you're considered a more premium product, which is the expensive, and in our opinion, the better way to make ice cream.
Okay. Absolutely.
And you mentioned butter in ice cream. So I think I've heard recently that people are doing butter dips, which I have to try.
I've seen that. That looks really cool.
Right. So that's a soft ice cream with butter dip, and I haven't. So do you guys add any extra butter in, any sort of butter product that goes in there? So I eat a lot of fat, so I just asked some questions here.
Yeah, we don't have anything that adds the additional, the thing that comes to mind when we do butter is our hot fudge. We make a homemade hot fudge on each location, and so that's where all our butter's going into.
All right, cool, very cool.
I have to ask you, Paul and Kendra, how about whipped cream? Is that just something that you get off the shelf, or is that something that you specialize in as well?
It's a good question. We for many years made our own whipped cream, and one of our core values is best product, service, and community. And so we spent some time this year and we tested our whipped cream that we make versus some local, really high quality people that specialize in it, and they blew us away. It was much better. So even though, right. we try to be homemade in as much as we can do, but being the best is more important to us than that. So we're now using a really, really high quality. All our staff tried it. They were like, "This is so much better." I was like, "Oh, so
Well,
yes, we use
I'm sure
a
it's like
local."
anything that people bake, but I watched somebody make real whipped cream,
Yeah.
and I was so turned off by how much, by how much sugar there was, that was put into into the whipped cream, that I got turned off by whipped cream. I was just like, so you're probably better off just adding it on. Yeah, so it's fun.
Yeah, it's the company we use is they claim to have invented whipped cream, so like they're the experts in, so at least the canister. Anyways, it's delicious. We love it.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we will all come in to check and make sure that we try it. What I do want all of our listeners to remember is that you've been in New Britain and Windsor, but this is a brand new location in West Hartford at Blueback Square, right on, as you said, as Paul said, across from Cheesecake Factory, as Tom said, across from Barnes and Noble, right in the center court, area. So please make sure that you pop in to see everyone. Kendra, did a great job reminding us about Instagram, staying, in touch. And Paul, one more time, what's the website address again? Frisbees Dairy?
FrisbieDairyBarn.com.
Dairy Barn. I forgot the barn. Okay. So, and it's Frisbie, Frisbie.
Yes, you got it. Yep.
Got it, barn.
It's you got it. Last name of the founder, not the Frisbee that you throw.
Exactly. That's great. Well, that's a conversation for another time. But you also said too that it was a Noble gas station, right? So, does that same owner own Noble gas stations too?
Yeah. So Mike still owns Noble. We purchased the Frisbees brand from him completely. So he's just a super supportive landlord and frequent customer. That is part of our partnership and growth. We've, like in Windsor, we're in one of his locations. That was the first one that we did outside of our New Britain. Same in Sturbridge, Mass, which is getting ready to open. So he's been great to work with, very supportive, but he really wanted to see the brand and business do well, and he felt that we would do well with it. So we're doing our best.
So I travel around the state quite a bit. So where in New Britain, you kind of like what street, other than Stanley Street? So you got another street, because Stanley Street weaves its way through New Britain. It's like the longest street in the world. And then in Windsor, where do you happen to be?
So in New Britain, we're right on Farmington Avenue, exit 37, right over there, right on the Farmington line. There's the Noble Gas is over there. There's a San Jose car wash. Yep. And we have our own standalone building over there. And then in Windsor, we're at the I say newly, it's been about a year now, constructed Noble gas station plaza. So we have our own walk-up window and patio, and it's on Day Hill Road.
Okay, yep, familiar with that. I mean, I haven't been to that particular spot recently, but one of my daughters lives around the corner in New Britain, down the street, so right from where you guys are. So I'll have to make sure we stop by. Thanks for letting us know where those two were.
All right. Well, once again, as always, we are out of time. I told you it flies. Please make sure that you pop in to check out either the New Britain location or the Windsor location, or certainly the brand new location at Blueback Square in West Hartford Center. That is on Isham Road, for those of you who like to plug in an address, right? ISHAN. What number again, roughly? 32?
38, I believe.
38, Isham Road in West Hartford, which is in the heart of Blueback Square, opposite Cheesecake Factory, and right next to Barnes and Noble and the library, the rear entrance, of the library. So pop in and see everybody, even if Kendra and Paul aren't there. Their spirit will be, and Frisbees will be opening, and watch down in the road or in the future, because I do think it's a great idea to have a Weeha ice cream. Don't you, Bob? I think we should.
I absolutely think it was great. Yeah, Weeha ice cream.
It's fun. Make that happen. That'd be great. Okay, and other than that, we are ready to say goodbye.
MBT Bank
to our Frisbees Dairy Barn in Blueback Square. Thanks for joining us, and be safe, be well.
What happened?
You
got to thank our sponsor.
Oh my gosh. How could I forget our sponsor? As I said, by starting me, we couldn't be here without them. NBT Bank, thank you very much for making the On the Scene podcast possible. And thank you also to all of our listeners. I can't remember, Bob, if I said this last time, but we had 1,000 downloads last year. That was a big mark, benchmark, for us folks. So thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. Be safe, be well. We'll see you on the scene.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.